Now let's go ahead and take a little time to reflect upon this rare and precious life that we have, using the advice of Lama Tsongkhapa for inspiration. This opportune physical form is worth more than a wish-granting gem. You only gain its light the once. So hard to get, so easily destroyed. It's like a lightning bolt in the sky. Contemplate this and you will realize all worldly actions are but window chaff at night and day. You must extract some essence of this life. By a yogi practiced in this way, you, wanting liberation, should do the same. Yeah, pretty good advice. If you want liberation. That was the topic at the teaching last night. We have a very clear guide to what frees us and what doesn't, what creates suffering, what imprisons us. We have this rare and precious human birth favorable to Dharma practice, and that's the key word there, Dharma practice. Dharma practice in this context means that which protects us from suffering, that which frees us from suffering, that which liberates us. So favorable to Dharma practice means all the conditions have ripened for us to actually know and understand what creates freedom, what protects us from suffering, what allows for growth, as far as the inner growth that liberates from mental and emotional afflictions, and ultimately enlightenment. But even here in a human body and human form, in our day-to-day life, that which protects us from mental and emotional afflictions. So, what is this Dharma practice? And last night we were talking about the 8 worldly concerns that can bind us to suffering. And what liberates us is virtue. Pretty straightforward virtue. There's the 10 non-virtuous actions that really wind up creating most of the problem. And the 8 worldly concerns, the attachment to them, is what creates so much of the non-virtuous actions. So here in our little booklet, we list the 10 virtuous and 10 non-virtuous actions. They're here. I recommend everyone know them intimately. But this week in our teaching, it's to not simply understand what we're doing, but why we are doing it. And if we can eliminate the motivation of these worldly concerns as a primary need for us to be happy, we will eliminate a lot of non-virtuous actions. So, am I motivated for gain and loss? Am I motivated for pleasure over pain? Am I motivated for praise over criticism, good reputation over bad reputation? Or am I motivated by compassion, by loving kindness, by virtuous actions? Remember, the 8 worldly concerns, they're fine if they're not our primary motivation. Completely normal and healthy to seek pleasure over pain to get what we need and try to not lose it. But when they become the primary motivators, believing that they are the cause of our happiness or our suffering, getting this or not getting that, well, then we fall into the causes of a lot of suffering. So today, let's do our best to be aware, not simply of our activities of body, speech, and mind, one, their virtue that's helpful. If we can do that, we're good. But what will happen is under the radar, our motivations, our grasping to these 8 worldly concerns will often send us into an attachment, fear, and great suffering. So let's be aware of those as best we can. And note, whenever we're uncomfortable, whenever we're struggling, whenever we're suffering, how that relates to the 8 worldly concerns.